Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make your very own Nether house. By the way, I have also designed the inside for you, but you'll have to wait until the end of the video to see it. Here are all of the materials that we will need to make our house. Please do make sure that you have access to all those materials and enough of them as well. And now that we have all of our stuff, we can get started. So, the first thing that we are going to do is place a row of 5 polished blackstone bricks extending up from the ground. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We then want to extend right by 2, 1, 2, and then we want to extend all the way down to the ground. And on the ground you can connect it back together. I want you to extend the right hand side of this structure backwards by 1 row. I then want you to extend the entire row to the right by 1 row as well. I then want you to take the top of this and extend it to the right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then extend down like this. And then I want you to extend to the right an entire row. Extend forwards an entire row. And then take the top and the bottom, extend to the right by 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2, and then join top and bottom just kind of like this. So you can even join the bottom of the inward part together like so. And you can even place upside down polished blackstone stairs, or polished blackstone brick stairs, that's a tongue twister, in the 2 corners. We can then place warped planks directly behind, and then that will give us this really cool effect where our door is going to be. As a matter of fact, we want to have 3 warped stairs extending outwards from the bottom 2 corners of the entrance like this. We want to have them placed upside down like so. So if we can, it's hard to place without other blocks, so like 1, 2, and 3, just like this. And I'm just going to have to excavate this area a little bit like so. And then if on the end you chuck yourself some chiseled polished blackstone and then join it together using warped stairs. Place soul sand on the inside of the left and right, extending backwards towards the door. And then we're going to have polished blackstone bricks in between the soul sand, extending further back. So just like this, right? What are we going to do next? Well, I want to make the upper part of the build as it is a little bit trickier. So to make the upper part of the build, we want to focus on this row of blackstone brick here. So we're actually going to extend it 1 row back like so to create a little bit of a platform. And then we are going to 1 row inwards on the platform that we've made. So on the left and right sides, this lines up with the left and right of the entrance. We want to place a row of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blackstone brick, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, extending up from either side of the entrance like this, and then you can join it together at the top, and you can place polished blackstone brick stairs in each one of the corners like this. Also, we should create a little bit of an entrance. I think I mentioned earlier that this is the entrance. Hopefully it's obvious, even if I didn't mention it with all of the stairs and stuff, but we're going to have a door here. And this is going to be our Nether portal. It's only really accessible from the inside, but as you actually exit the portal, you can easily just jump out if you like. So that's sort of the reasoning for having it there. The next thing that I think that we are going to do is we are going to focus a little bit more on the walls of our build. So why don't we come to the right side of the build now, and we are going to extend the right of the build backwards. So this row of blackstone here, we're going to extend it backwards with the bricks 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we want to extend the entire row backwards like this. So 10 entire rows will make us a nice wall. And we will also want to extend across the back of the build as well, although the back of the build is a tad bit different. You see, we want to take the top and the bottom and we want to extend it inwards by 2, so 1, 2, and 1, 2, and we want to join top to bottom like this. And honestly, why don't we also extend the opposite side of the build backwards by 10 as well? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll extend the entire wall. We are going to texture the walls, by the way, all the way around. This is just a very simple method of starting off the walls. It is going to get way better. And then we're going to take the top and the bottom of the row, and we're going to extend it inwards 1, 2, and also 1, 2. And then we'll join it top to bottom, like so, right? And then we want to extend those inward rows, well, inwards, we want to extend the inward rows inwards like this, and then we're going to join the wall together, like left to right, just like this. So right in the middle, we're going to have something which should look like so. So what we will have is this shape, which is fantastic. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a couple of windows on the back here. So the windows, basically we want one here on the left, so that's one row away from the left. And we also want one here on the right, so we want to leave a gap of one on the right. So that kind of centers our windows. They want to be 3 rows high in total, so about this high. And we want to fill them in using black stained glass pane. You could also use, say, cyan glass. That might look cool. I might even test it a little bit later. We'll have to see. The corners of the pillars that we've created on both the front and the back, actually, the middle of the pillars want filling in with the warped planks. So this will actually give us our second colour. So there's 2 primary colours here. We have the black stone, which is, well, black, and we have the warped planks, which I would call a cyan colour, really, and that really helps to it helps to establish a nice colour scheme to place it in the corners like this. So what do we have to do next? I think that we're going to do some work on the left and right sides of the build and also the back as well. And the way that we're going to do it is we're going to place, on the left side here, we want to leave a gap of 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then we want to mark out the next block, which would be the 4th block. We want to leave another gap of 1, 2, 3, and then we want to mark out the next block, which is the 4th block. And we want to extend these rows upwards, up to the top. And we want to, in the middle of this area, we want to knock out the 3 middle blocks, and we're going to place black stained glass panes, so in a window formation, essentially. And we want to do the same on the opposite side, and I'm thinking that it might be cool to use iron glass. We'll test that out later on. On the left or right side, it doesn't matter which, you want to count inwards from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, find the 4th block, mark it out. 1, 2, 3, find the 4th block, mark it out. Extend it upwards like this. Take the middle, destroy it, and place some glass pane in the center, just like this. And that is looking pretty good. So what do we do on the back? Honestly, the back is looking pretty decent at the moment, and I think that it might be time to make a little more of the upper part of the build, as I think that that will help shape things a little bit. So I want you to come behind the portal that we've just made, and what we're going to do is we're going to extend the left and right sides of the portal backwards an entire row, just like this. We're then going to take that entire wall and we're going to extend it outwards. So do this simultaneously and equally on the opposite side. We're then going to take those 2 walls that we've created, that we've extended back and then outwards, and then we're going to extend them back by 6 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And these entire rows want extending backwards, just like this. So here, like this, and like this. So that's looking pretty good. So on the back of the build we have something which should look like that. We're then going to take these 2 rows and we're going to extend them inwards. So the ends of this, we're going to take the 2 rows and we'll extend them inwards. We're then going to extend the 2 rows outwards, 1 row towards us, like so. And then we're going to join them left to right, so just like this. Fantastic. So a little bit later on, we're going to be extending the back of this out, and we'll be able to place a little bit of a walkway around here. But if you wanted to, you can just extend this row down and kind of just join the top corners of this together to form a solid shape. We can even take out the warped planks along the top here. We can destroy the warped planks, and we can make this entire platform, this entire surface, black stone brick. So just like this, right? So you can see that we're now dealing with a bit more of a solid structure. I think that we're now going to add the fanciness, as I will call it, around the top of the build. So on the front of the build, we have the pillars, don't we, on the left and the right? Well, on the right pillar, we're going to start here. I want you to place upside down polished black stone brick stairs along the outsides of the pillar. I want you to place chiseled black stone, what's it called? Chiseled polished black stone in the corners of the pillars like this. And we'll decorate those later on. So we're going to extend around to the right side of the build. We're going to place upside down polished black stone brick stairs, extending across the top of this, extending all the way back. We have the same pillars on the back, so we can place the upside down polished black stone brick, or yeah, the polished black stone brick stairs. I'm still learning the names of these, ladies and gentlemen, and there's a lot of words involved. And then we want to place the actual chiseled polished black stone in the corner. We want to place it on the end here as well, where we have the upside down stairs. And then we also want to just extend to the right. We want to go right by 1, 2, 3. And then we want to place the chiseled polished black stone, 3 upside down stairs, chiseled polished black stone, extend round the corner, 3 upside down stairs, move through, place 3 more stairs, move through, place 3 more stairs. You can place a chiseled polished black stone on the end, 3 more upside down stairs, and then place a chiseled polished black stone on the end there as well. So you can see that is actually going to make things look a little bit fancier as we go around. I also want you to mark out on the sides of the build. This is a little bit weird, but I want you to, where the stone brick pillar is here, just mark it out with an additional stone brick on the left and right sides, like this. That's perfect. Oh, we also want to extend the 2 inward polished black stone. Inwards, we want to place the bricks just behind. And what that will actually allow us to do, we can place a row of warped fence extending from the bricks that we just placed, and it can kind of just extend backwards and connect to either side of the portal like this. So we can have an effect that should look a little bit like that. I think that it might be best that we start placing some stairs on the side of here, because it'll actually help us in making some of the rooms that come off adjacent to the central portal room. So one of the good reasons for placing those stone bricks a little bit earlier, so this one right here connected together with the stairs, is that we can now place a warped stairs on the side of it. We want to then extend the warped stairs backwards by 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this. And then we want to find a way to extend these stairs up and join it to the center part of the build. Exactly how you would expect a normal roof to extend. So however you want to do it, it doesn't really matter as long as you create this effect here. Underneath these stairs, we're going to place upside down Nether, or upside down warped stairs rather, and then we want to fill inside of this in using blackstone, like this. We're going to destroy the 2 middle blackstone because it's just easier to have used blackstone, and we're going to place some windows here. The way that we're actually going to be getting inside of the portal is that we are going to be creating a little entrance somewhere here-ish. We'll actually figure that out a little bit later on, but we're going to be creating a little portal inside. Anyway, so now that we've placed these stairs here on the front, we want to place the upside down warped stairs along the back. We want to place the polished black stone bricks, but with the end goal of placing some glass in the middle. But I find it so much easier to place glass in between things rather than as a primary sort of placement material here. And then on the opposite side, we want to do the same. And before we do the exact same thing to this side, I feel as though that I should just show you what this looks like in its completion. So you can see that we have these stairs, we have the little window kind of like encased. It's like layers upon layers of depth. And as we swing around the back, we also have the equal but opposite thing. So we actually want to do the exact same thing to this side as well. I just thought that I should show you that side too. So now that we have done that, we want to place our warped stair on the outside of this brick, and we want to extend the stair backwards by 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We then want to find some sort of way to extend these stairs up and inwards until they eventually connect to the central part of our build. So extend the stairs up and inwards until they eventually extend to the center. We're going to place upside down warped stairs wherever we can. We're going to place the polished black stone bricks on the inside, but again, that's with the end goal of either you can leave it as an entrance or you can place the glass. It's actually a complete choice. I think that we're going to use them as either. You'll see what I mean a little bit later on. So we're going to then place the upside down stairs, which helps us to frame the inside of the wall here, and then we can take the 2 middle blocks and then we can destroy them and place a little bit of glass there. So that's looking pretty good. So you can see we've added a good amount of detail here now. We're going to place warped fence all the way along the back here. We might even consider extending the back of this outwards a little bit, or at the very least the middle part of this, to create a little bit of depth. So something that we could do here is that we could take from like where we have this warped stair, we can kind of like extend it outwards like this, an additional row. And we could take this warp stair and we can extend it outwards like an additional row. Like turn it sideways, extend it out an additional row, stick the chiseled polished blackstone in between, and then add another row of bricks. And then that will give you is a little bit of a walkway. So you're going to want to destroy the original chiseled and extend it outwards, or the original polished and extend it outwards. It is actually chiseled, isn't it? No, it's not. Yes, it is. Chiseled polished blackstone. I always think of it in my head as polished chiseled blackstone, but it's actually chiseled polished. You guys get the idea. Very confusing. So that will allow us to walk out onto this little balcony, and that's what this area is. It's kind of like a little bit of an entrance. It's on the side here. If you leave a gap of 1 here on the left and just create a double gap, and then on the right if you do the same thing, but on the right we're just going to have a little bit of glass pane inside, and then that will do us. And honestly, that's looking pretty good. So now you can walk out of the back, you can walk out onto your balcony. We have some roofs kind of like framing things a little bit. We've got the sides of the build done. What do we want to do next? Well, I feel as though that I want to make the upper part of our house, which I would call, I suppose, I'd call it a spire. It's kind of like right in the middle, kind of like maybe what a church would have. Although I guess that this doesn't particularly look like a church, maybe in shape, but not really in the materials or the locale. So what are we going to be doing next? Well, we're going to extend the middle of this upwards. We're going to extend the 2 middle rows on the front of the house. This row here, we're going to extend it upwards by 2. So 1, 2, like this. What we're then going to do is we're going to take the 3 middle rows of the 5 that we have just extended upwards, and we're going to extend upwards by 2. And then we're going to take the top middle row, so just this middle row right here in the row 3, and we're going to extend it upwards by 1 and 2. So you can see how it creates kind of like a long spire effect. And we want to, quite honestly, you can just extend this front to back, so you can just extend this right onto the back of the build. We can even extend at these sides as well, so here, here. We just want to have the exact same effect. The back is a little bit different to the front in the fact that there's not a nether portal there, and there's also like a little entrance and a window, but we can make all of those differences a little bit later. So we can extend this back and this back as well, and this back and then we can just fill this in. So we can just create quite a solid structure, although it's not going to stay that way for long. It's going to be a little bit different. So now that we have this, I want to add a roof to it. So the roof to it is actually quite simple to make. It's made out of warped planks and warped stairs. And basically what we're going to do is we are going to place a row of warped planks on top of the black stone that we have on the right and left side of the build. The planks are going to overhang the front of the build by one and the back of the build by one. So we have a row of planks and then a row of stairs on top. And then we move on to the next layer. So then we add on like the next part of the roof, we add a row of planks and then we add a row of stairs. And we keep doing this. We extend up and inwards exactly how a regular roof might. And we place the row of planks and then the row of stairs. Eventually we reach the top and we're just going to have a row of planks extending front to back, kind of like this. And then on the opposite side of the build, we'll have the same thing as well. So we'll just have the planks sitting on the black stone, front to back like this. And then we'll have the warped stairs, so on and so forth. So what's kind of interesting is this house has 3 complete different styles of roof. You've kind of got your classic style, which is a little bit below us, which is just the stairs. You've kind of got this, which is a little bit more of an advanced roof. And when we actually get to the actual main entrance, it has yet another style too. We're going to place upside down warped stairs underneath the overhanging parts like this. Stick a plank right in the top middle, so that's looking pretty good. And I really enjoy this style of roof. I really like it. Almost looks a little bit medieval to me. I don't know why I separated the words medieval, but it looks a little bit medieval to me. Separate it even more, and we'll have something which looks a little bit like this. So what I'd recommend doing above the portal that we have here on the front is knocking out the 3 middle blocks, turning them into glass so that we make a window. Not that you can really even see it that much. And doing the same thing on the back of the build as well. So on the back of the build, 1, 2, 3, just up at the top, you can see it lines up with the one on the front and having the exact same thing. So now that we have done that, what are we going to be doing next? We should probably make the entrance area, because then we can start decorating a bit. So for the entrance area, we're actually missing one material. To my chagrin, we need ourselves the blackstone wall. Here we go. Polished blackstone brick wall. It will have been in the item list, but I forgot it myself, quite honestly. So we need that, and we need ourselves the warp slab. We need ourselves, I want to make sure that this is right, and that is actually that. But then later on, we're going to be using the warped fence, chain, warped buttons, lanterns. We'll need a warped door. We'll also need obsidian, and we'll need some other things as well, no doubt. So what do we want to do next? So on the entrance area here, we're going to place 2 polished blackstone brick wall extending upwards from the 2 corners. We're then going to place... Is it only 2, or should we make it 3? We might make it 3. Okay, so let's do 3. Polished blackstone brick wall on the corners. And then we want to place warped slabs on the walls. We want to then extend the warped slabs forwards. We want to extend them like down and out, and then we want to connect them back to the house, kind of like this. And you want to do the same with any slabs that we have. So like the overhanging part, you extend down, out, extend it back to the house like this, and then take this upper slab and connect it backwards. We then want to take the overhanging slabs and we want to extend them in and up and in and up like this. And then we want to join these back to the house as well. So we want to extend these slabs. And then this makes the 3rd different style of roof that we have placed on this house, which I think is actually pretty cool. The middle row of slabs will extend backwards, and it can actually join together in between these 2 stairs here. And this is the sort of effect that you'll have. So I really like this. I quite like the variety in this build. And you might be looking at this and you might be like, it looks a little bit plain. But here's how we can make this look a little bit better. Anywhere that you have the polished, let's get this right, the chiseled polished blackstone, you can place buttons on the side of it. I actually think that this makes a big difference. You cover the little, it kind of looks like a pig snout or something, or kind of like a little face. You cover those parts of it, but you add another color element to the block, which I think is really cool. It just highlights the build a little bit in certain areas, which I really like. There's a few different places that this house also benefits from some hanging lanterns. I like to do this in the same way. So underneath the chiseled polished blackstone, I like to have a fence, a chain, and then a lantern hanging underneath, like this, on each one of the 4 corners of the build. We're also going to be doing this a little bit to the top as well. I say a little bit, it's actually the same sort of thing. It will make the build brighter, it will make it lighter, it will make it... It'll also just kind of like add a vibe. Like, I'm specifically using, by the way, the regular lanterns rather than what I assume they're called warped lanterns. I actually haven't even used them yet anywhere. The reason that I'm doing that is because I like the... Come on. There we go. I like the color contrast of the orange against the black and the cyan. I like it a lot. We also want to do it up here, so where we have kind of like the spire, I want to have the exact same style of lantern hanging off each one of the 4 corners of the build. So we're going to be doing exactly that. So hanging off each one of the 4 corners, fence, chain, lantern. Feel free to change it to, I'm going to check the name on, but it's got to be warped lanterns, right? That's what it's got to be called. I mean, everything else is warped of that particular color, so surely it's got to be warped lantern. I think that to satisfy my curiosity. Soul lantern. Well, I was wrong. Not the first time. Okay, so we're using the regular lanterns instead of soul lanterns. I bet that was driving some of you guys crazy. I'm very sorry about that. We also want to create the Nether portal inside of the build. So basically, as best we can, we want to place obsidian around the edges of kind of like the stairs constructed area. So we just want to place obsidian in this pattern, just kind of like around the stairs area, and we want to light it up using a flint and steel, or however you want to light it up if you want to get a bit fancier than that. And you can see that adds yet another color element to the build, which is really, really cool, really, really interesting. Not only that, we're actually going to make use of the... we will need our doors, and we also need soul soil and nether wart, and the soul soil is wrong. How is it that I have managed to get the wrong material? We don't need soul soil, although it would seem it is identical. We need soul sand. Soul soil actually looks quite nice. And it would make sense that in soul soil, you could place nether wart. I don't know why you can't. But anyway, the reason that we have soul sand instead of soul soil is so that we can place some nether wart along the left and right sides of our walkway that lead into our house. You can even use either some wall, or you can use some fence to kind of just like clad the outside of your little porch area as well. I originally used wall, but I quite like the fence as well. We're gonna stick a door in the middle where the door should be. Around the edge of the build, we're going to place soul sand, not soul soil. Apparently, nether wart needs sand, not soil. It is the succulent of the plant world, of the nether plant world, it would seem. Apparently, it can only thrive in sand and not soil. Who would have thought about that? That a plant literally growing in the midst of hell, or however you would define this area, would be so picky as to what it grew in. It's literally surrounded by fire and lava, and yet it needs soil and not... It needs sand and not soil. What? Anyway, so we're going to be filling all of the sand in using nether wart because it's just nice and colourful. Like, obviously, around us we have the netherrack, which is nice and colourful as well. Like, it's a red, but it's not as vibrant as the nether wart. So, you can even, if you like, kind of like add a little bit more soul sand kind of like around. You could even place it underneath. Oh no, I knew that would happen. You could even place it like underneath the porch area as well, or you could use a different block underneath the porch. I'm just going to get rid of that. There we go. I'll just replace it. Here we are. You could even use a different material just like underneath the porch, but I quite like it. And do you know what material I actually really do like? Is I really love the crimson nylium, and I quite like the warped nylium as well, but the crimson more so because I really like the color red quite a bit. But you can place this if you kind of want to just like outline your house a little bit, just to kind of like make it stick out. If you want to have, you know, just to make it a little bit fancier looking, I think. I just like the color of it a lot. Like, I know that it's red on red, but there's something about the contrast of it, even against a color of which it's of its own ilk, really. I just really like how it looks. It's the same with the nether wart. It's the exact same thing, but it's just such a nice color. It's a very powerful color. I really like the. I also really like using the two new blocks in tandem, like the crimson nylium, and the warped as well. Like, just the red and the cyan just go together in kind of like a weird way. They're kind of like almost opposite colors, kind of like white and black or something like that. But they just look really nice together. So says me anyway. So. I think that this really helps to kind of like outline the house a little bit. And if you wanted to, you could use either soul sand, or I would recommend, because I don't think it slows you down, but I could completely be wrong about this, soul soil to kind of just make an entrance. In an ideal world, we wouldn't have built this house in kind of like in front of this little ridge here, but you know, it is what it is. So kind of like this would look cool, and I think that it just helps to frame the house a little bit. You know, it just looks as though it's integrated into the nether. It almost looks like a little bastion of hope in the nether, despite the fact that it is a little bit gothic looking. I really do. I think that it just goes quite nicely. What else can we do? So on the back of the build here, we have to add a door. Boom, we've done that. You can get in and out of this particular side of the house. If you want to get out onto these balconies, I'd recommend removing the windows, or perhaps on the sides here, you know, you could create kind of like a, can you? You can't really create a gap. You might just have to remove the windows if you wanted to get out onto these balconies, quite honestly. Or you could perhaps introduce like a ladder on the side, and that can be like a little sneaky secret way. We've actually finished this house tutorial, but I just want to try out cyan glass because I have a feeling that it might look good. Gonna have the black glass out on deck just in case. Oh, I do like it. Okay, so the cyan glass, that just reminded me of Will Smith from the most recent YouTube Rewind. That's hot. I really quite like that was horrible. Anyway. That was the worst impression ever. Anyway, so that's the cyan stained glass. I really like it against the black. That looks so good. I honestly, if I hadn't have already have made the item list, that would be there instead of the black. But it's up to you. It depends sort of like whether you want such a striking contrast. But I'm replacing it all now because I think that looks awesome. I really like it. Yeah, there we go. I mean, the black's cool because it kind of like it kind of like just fades in. Like, you can barely tell that there's a window there, but the cyan, it just goes so well with the rest of the color of the house. I just really like it. Almost it highlights the windows in such a way that they almost have kind of like a little bit of a glow to them. I don't know, if you added like a light source behind them, I think that'd look really cool. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the house. I'm going to decorate the inside of it for you, just so that you kind of get a little bit of an idea of how you could decorate the inside if you wanted to, or how much space that you have, or how you might lay it out. But that's the house actually made. I hope that you're as happy with it as I am. So this is what your house will look like once it has been 100% fully completed, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't added any more additional details to the outside, so we should both hopefully have the exact same build, but the inside has changed drastically. So why don't we take a look at it so that I can give you a little bit of an idea at how you may want to lay it out, at how it was designed. So the ground floor, I have chosen to have a brewery, a giant brewing area, and also an enchantment area with a little bit of a storage, and we also have a little bit of an indoor farm because I think it kind of looked cool, and we have some of the nice new nether plants on a table in the center. However, we do have a second floor, so if we come up here, we have a bit more of a general crafting theme up here, kind of like built into the alcoves, which I think is really cool. So we have one alcove on the left and one alcove on the right with all of the different crafting implements that we could need. We also have access to the nether portal, which is very important as well, and we have a really cool set of armor here too. And finally, if we head up to the third floor, that's right, there are 3 floors, then we have the bedroom with the ender chest with a bit more storage. Now obviously it can be laid out in a completely different way, you're more than welcome to, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an idea of how much space you have. And that's it. I do hope that you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please do remember to hit that like button, as it really helps me in the channel out very much. If you're new around here, please do consider subscribing and clicking that little bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all my videos sent directly to your sub box. And if you do want to make anything else by me, check out the card system description below in the top of the comment section for more. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.